all the negative stuff we talk about politics, it starts the higher you go up. I don't want anything to do with it. I only care about Newtown. I'm only in it for Newtown.
Welcome to the Lion's Den, hosted by Lance Bachman.
Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of the Lion's Den. I have Andrea Ahern here, which I just butchered her name, as I always do, and Kyle Davis, her sidekick, who's already a Newtown supervisor, and Andrea is running for it right now. And I'm going to be talking about the issues in Bucks County, Newtown, and some bigger issues about politics, and why they're in it and how they want to make a difference. So welcome to the Den. I appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's just jump into it real fast. Ladies first, if you don't mind, Kyle.
Sure, certainly.
Dre, please give everyone who you are and why are you running to be Newtown supervisor? Now, I'm not making it funny, but why? I've known you since high school.
It's a great question. Well, first, thanks for having us, Lance. Really appreciate being here. So as you said, I'm a lifelong resident of Newtown. We both went to Council Rock. So clearly Newtown's always been important to me and mattered very much to me. But I recently got involved in politics organically. There was a planned residential development that was proposed for a parcel right behind where I live. And I was concerned about it. And as those concerns continued, it took me to the township level. And when I got to the township level, what really moved the needle for me was how it did not appear that there was any kind of collaboration between the supervisors themselves or the supervisors and the residents. The way that the current board majority is operating, they're not playing to each other's strengths. They're only perpetuating the weaknesses of the board members, and that's not how a well-run board should operate. And as I was, working with this project, commonly referred to as the Arcadia Project, I found myself consistently saying, and I shared with Kyle, that Newtown deserves better than this. We deserve more collaboration, right? And those conversations led us to chatting, and Kyle asked me to run with him and announce my candidacy, and here I am.
All right, well, welcome to the Den. Good luck.
Thanks.
Kyle?
Thank you.
Another Council Rock Brad.
That's right, class of 86. Thank you also for having us. Appreciate it. I'd like to have this time talking with you. Basically, why I'm running and why I got involved. So I have a long history of service. In high school, I joined the Army Reserve, went to basic training.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, appreciate it. Inspired by both my grandfather and my uncle who had done it, World War II and the Vietnam era. So something I thought I wanted to do. And also get money to go to college. It was the key factor. So went to college. Actually met my wife, my future wife or current wife, at Council Rock. She's also class of 86, Valerie. So
my wife's actually a member of Council Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know what class, but I went to high school with her sister. My wife graduated there too.
Yeah, so I ended up going to Westchester University where my girlfriend, now wife, was going. And she was in this service fraternity, sorority type thing called the Abbey Society. And they have a partner organization called the Friar Society. I don't think I've ever told you any of this.
No, this is great.
So what we did in college while we were going to school is we did service projects around campus, help some little old lady with her yard work because she can't do it anymore. We did maintenance on, there was a local house for disabled children that were wheelchair bound, and they needed help with that building. We would help go there, do a service project for the day, and then of course go back to college and do college things, Saturday nights. But it put a sense of satisfaction in doing those things. Not only am I there, I'm having fun, I'm going to school, getting an education. I did things that I think made a difference, and I liked the way they made me feel. So when I got out of college, got married, had kids, I wanted to be involved in my kids' life, obviously loved them. Got into softball with my daughter, coached her softball team for years. And my son is an Eagle Scout. We did Boy Scouts until he was on that. So I found myself doing those things, being involved in the community. Got involved with the township, with a skate park committee. That we wanted to build a skate park in Newtown. My son at the time was a skateboarder. So I got on that committee at the township, raise funds, get the land, build the park, cut the ribbon, all that stuff. And again, it was satisfying. And then I got on another committee, the technology committee at the township, to help advise the Board of Supervisors at the time on how to use technology to, improve things in the township. So it kind of slowly eased that direction. Now my kids get old, they're done softball. My son's an Eagle Scout. I have more time on my hands. I'm not a coach. I'm not in Scouts anymore. And I decided to run for supervisor. So, and then I've been doing that for about 8 years now. So why I'm running is because it's community service is what what I was trying to say, the whole spiel I just gave. It's just, I want to give back to my community. I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to be the kind of person that sits there, complains about how crappy certain things are, and doesn't do anything about them. So I thought the best way to do that was to get involved, stay involved, and then I saw that I could make a difference and thought we were doing good things. And so I'm going to run for re-election because I want to keep trying to help the town that I love. And
So for the viewers,
Yeah.
there's 5 people on the board.
yes,
4 right now are Democrats, 1 Republican.
correct.
Which I think is lunacy that you have to run under a political association to be a board member, right? Whoever has happened to do the right thing, right? Probably never was a motto, but probably should be one, right? Do the right thing. You were the last class that actually had Republicans win on the board, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You know, you're running. Does it matter? I mean, is it really a difference of Republican versus Democrat as you're running through this, or do you just got to pick a side and say, I feel more comfortable with these views versus these views? I'm just curious.
In my opinion, it doesn't really matter. If you focus on national level politics where the parties get divided, and even not everyone in a party feels everything about that platform, it builds divisiveness. And I don't think that has a place on Newtown Township Board of Supervisors. We have to run as a party. We have to get party support. This is the way our system works, pretty much nationwide. But there are way more things that we agree. Even now, there are things, I'd say there's a vast majority of things we agree on that aren't a problem. We'll disagree, on zoning issues or development, like with Arcadia, where I was fighting it for 6 years, but they've settled the lawsuits and it's happening now. But that's a policy.
So you lost.
I did. It's a policy disagreement. And that's legitimate. Those are legitimate disagreements. You start looking at all this divisive, the world wants to divide us by party, and it pushes a wedge between us. And I don't think that's useful in Newtown Township. It's not useful at the municipal level. We care about where we live. We all live the same place. We go to the same stores. We go to probably the same places of worship.
If you like this content and you're trying to grow your business, follow me at Lance Bachman and Lance Bachman Digital on Facebook. LFG, time to grow. Dre, do you think it matters if you're running for Republican or Democrat seat, or it doesn't make a difference?
I don't think it should make a difference at this level, to Kyle's point. The things that we're hearing from the electorate when we're out knocking doors are not national level conversations. They're concerned about overdevelopment, the Arcadia project, other projects like that. They're concerned about sound fiscal management at the Newtown level. So I don't think it should, but to Kyle's point, this is, the playground that we find ourselves in. So we have to pick an agenda.
Right.
So let's jump into this.
Okay.
I want to do some research and look into what people felt, because everyone's going to tell me what they think their issues are, right? And what they think they have their hand on the pulse. So I don't know. I'm probably going to blast this person on and have my people do it because he has to be tied to Looney Tunes, right? I'm just going to quiz you real fast. What do you think the number one thing on this survey says is an issue for Newtown?
I would say overdevelopment is what I'm hearing at the doors.
Yeah.
That makes most sense.
I'm hearing overdevelopment at the doors as well.
Water quality. Now, I'm not being rude. I grew up in Council Rock. I live in Ivyland. No one's ever saying to me and said, listen, you guys drink bottled water. You got a problem with what's coming out of the spigot. I mean, am I missing something? Is that a main issue in Newtown?
No, I drink
No.
the tap water.
Okay,
Yeah.
just so you know, we're going to put it up there for the viewers. This is an actual poll from Patch, right? Just shows you how things could be, right? Preserve open space, right?
Right.
Now, I want you to think about where this is on the level of what people are concerned about. They say this poll, youth programs are second to last, and attracting new business for you guys as a board of supervisors, right? I mean, businesses pay taxes. I don't think most people know that, especially on a county municipal level to that township. Every employee does that works there. Every business does. Attracting new businesses is last on the list. Could that be possible?
Not as far as I'm concerned.
Is this what you guys are talking about in your meetings, guys?
No,
No.
it's not.
No.
I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I mean, like, 'cause
no.
if I read this, I'd be like, because I'm a business person, right? And I know how these things work a little bit. I think better than most people. I'm not saying I'm you by any means. You guys are experts. But this just doesn't make sense to me, the survey.
So no, I agree. It doesn't make sense. And I think that what you need to do is consider who authored the poll, how it was structured, the audience, and where it was released.
I was doing some research, and it looked like your taxes had been raised for the last 3 years consistently every year. And it looked like almost 15 years of the last 20, there was no tax raises. Mm-hmm. Do you guys aware of that? Is it kind of what's going on?
Yeah,
like, can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's another issue we're hearing about. The township has raised taxes about 240% over the last 3 years. That would be in 2 lumps, not over every year. People are complaining, and I don't see why that's not a top issue on that survey. I guess it depends when the survey is run too. But.
So let's talk about taxes. It's actually a top 5 piece in here. So so it is a top 5. I will give them credit on that. Let's talk about taxes, right? You guys have a budget of about $12 to $15 million. You guys run a Newtown, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Is there a shortage in that budget every year? Are you guys coming up short and saying, hey, listen, we're negative a few $1 million? Are you guys running over?
We are.
I understand the increased taxes if that's the case, but it doesn't seem you guys have extra money every year and it's coming over. So
we have been dipping into our reserves, and there are points in time where that's acceptable. We have downturns in the economy. It's had to happen. Because the first thing you don't want to do when the economy's tanking is raise taxes on everybody. So if you can get through that hurdle and the budget recovers, then you're looking okay. So I think the reason why taxes were raised over the last 3 years, I have a philosophy on how the budget management process should work. Department heads come to the manager, township manager comes to the board with a budget. It's our job to sort through that budget, see what is a want, what is a need. And that's budgeting everywhere, especially in businesses I've ever been associated with. And that's the way I think the process should work. We made cuts on things. We wouldn't cut things out and make a problem. But hey, let's cut back here, let's cut back there, let's shift priorities, and keep from having to raise taxes. Done that for a number of years, as you mentioned. I think it was closer to 18 or 19.
Okay, one upper here, guys.
Sorry.
Come on, Kyle.
Well, it's a good record. You don't want to not,
Okay.
You don't talk about it. So, in my opinion, the last 3 years, it's not so much that process. It's what do we want? Okay, how do we pay for it? And I don't think that's being fiscally responsible. That's not the way you handle your control over a budget. So I think that's where I think the problem comes in.
The issue is that I see, and don't take this the wrong way, you have 5 people making the decision for probably in Newtown, I'm going to assume, $12 million budget. You probably have 300,000 to 400,000 people living there?
No, it's 20,000
people.
All right, so 5 people make the decision for 20,000 people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone see an issue with that?
Are you suggesting we should have more people at the board level?
Something. I mean, why should 5 people? I mean, you double my taxes 2.5 times. I'm going to come up to the board and say,
yeah.
I
Have
can
you ever tried?
understand.
Where's the 40% goes to the police, right? And then it
Right.
just goes from there, right? I mean,
I can understand why you're suggesting that question.
I have the same
I
problem
think-
with 500 people running 400 million Americans.
Right. I think if you get the 5 right people that are going to collaborate and play to each other's strengths and not perpetuate weaknesses, then I think that you can manage a township of 20,000 people and a $15 million budget. I don't think that the amount of people at the board level is necessarily the issue. I think it's the people at the board level outside of Mr. Davis.
Do you think they run it as a business or more of a quote unquote, I'm going to use the word boys club, girls club? I think everyone knows the old boys
Right.
club, right? Do they run as I know you're a business person. I've done business with you. You've done my banking. You're a business person. I think if more people, I don't know you that well, Kyle, but if more people just handled, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, this is just pure business. These are the numbers.
Right.
I know I can't come up short here and just go raise my clients all 4%. I got to
Right.
figure it out, or they're going to
Correct.
say I'm out.
Right.
So I think that if they were running this township like a business, I would not have to be running for office. That's the number one concern, right? Instead of doing the work to go through the budget, right, which is painstaking work, which I know you well know, going line item by line item to create synergies, I haven't seen them do that level of work, rather than go into the electorate, and raise taxes. So that's one of the reasons when Kyle and I talked about running, what would be some of the things that we want to see different?
Right. And to that note, this year I've been asking the board at the meetings to start the budget process earlier so we can spend more time looking at it and have the public look at it sooner. And I've been rejected. We're doing the regular budget process. It'll be presented in October, and then we have to the end of the year to discuss and finalize it by the end of the year.
The budget.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys go and look to see where people are spending their budget? I mean, like I'm just thinking for myself as a business person, right?
Right.
I look at my business and I say, okay, I spent so much on marketing, so much on advertising, travel, food, meals, cars. What's eating up the cash, right? Payroll. Does it make sense? You know, do you guys go back and say, okay, hey, the police department makes up 40%, park and rec makes up this amount. What was wasted? What money didn't they spend? What was that money actually spent for?
Yeah, we do.
Curious. I'm just curious. Do you guys do that?
Yeah, well, so as a business, thinking as a business person, one of your biggest costs is your personnel, your people, and that's
Payroll's
absolutely
always the highest.
Yeah, it's the case of the township. You know, we have a lot of different departments, a lot of people working. We have to worry about that head count. Do you add head count and pay for it for the next how many years? 20 years? Because laying somebody off on a township is not that easy. It's hard. A lot of the members are actual unions, so you can't just go and willy-nilly,
So
cut head count. So we have to be careful about filling those slots, adding a head count to the township, because you can't really cut that expense once it's there very easily. So one of the things they've been doing has been hiring people, where I thought we probably should not have.
So we'll talk about that
Yeah.
because you are right with controlling. But I want to get to this, though. So
Okay.
Mick Petrucci, he's a local judge there.
Yep.
Friend of mine. I think he's a great guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I look at this survey, right? And I have a brother, drugs have run rampant through my family. And I went to Council Rock, right? So I see that more people, I'm just putting it out there, are concerned about conditions of roads and speeding tickets than drug abuse. Could that be possible? And are people that disconnected up in Newtown or in Ivy? Are people that disconnected that drug abuse, which Mick Petrucci told me is on the rise, one of the number one things he sees, that and alcohol, young kids, this and that, and youth programs down at the bottom. Are people that disconnected to worry about the fucking road they drive on over that? I mean, that's the survey.
Yeah, again, I can't. I had a class. I don't know.
can't speak to the
I can't speak to
efficacy
the
of that survey
Yeah.
or how
I mean,
accurate
you guys
it is,
just
but-
as two people going to the
Right.
board. Is the roads that bad driving through Newtown? Like,
People bitch about roads more than other stuff.
I guess
Then
we're talking
Absolutely.
about
Yeah.
we're talking about perception, right? What's the perception of the electorate in Newtown? I would have to say, with the amount of doors that we've knocked at this point, I've heard more about roads and budget and development than I've heard about drug abuse.
Absolutely.
And
I can't think of one time.
right?
Yeah,
and I'm on the
drug abuse,
board
yeah.
of the Daniel K. Weprick Foundation, which is about opioid awareness, and that's on the palm card that we drop off, and nobody's asked me about it.
I mean, to me, that is lunacy. That people are worried about a road over youth programs and drugs in a place where, let's be realistic, drugs have been on the rise in Council Rock, in Newtown, alcohol, drugs. Do they not think it's going to impact their families eventually? I mean, I think everyone could say, somebody or their family member that's had an issue.
Yes,
Yeah,
we all have.
I would agree with that.
Do they really think that?
I can't
I'm
say
sure
every family member that hit a pothole.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to remember, we're door knocking for township supervisor, right? They automatically are thinking, what can I tell you about the township that I have a problem with? That probably doesn't come to mind as something the Board of Supervisors has control over.
I understood the school safety. I did. Like, school safety is huge.
Sure.
How do you guys impact that? Because I'm just curious.
Well, we provide police officers at schools,
Okay.
but the school district pays for them.
Okay, and then let's talk about the open space,
Mm.
which is always a big fight. The Wawa got approved. I know other things have. Do you guys think we should preserve space up there? Do you think we should keep building and developing? I'm just because the new shopping center up there where the Starbucks is, whoever owns that, I don't know if that's owned as a franchise or corporate owns it, but that's a instant Mac machine.
Yeah. That whole shopping center,
It's beautiful.
it looks great, and it's packed.
All
and,
time.
And I was the no vote on that one, so I lost that vote. I thought they put 3 too many buildings in the parking lot, but another one I lost.
But to answer your original question about where we stand on open space, we're emphatic about it. That's one of our top key points. We both grew up in Newtown, and most true Newtonians understand the qualities that are unique to Newtown. And as we continue to allow these developments to come through, allow developers to build on the bypass now, we are slowly seeing that those unique qualities are diminishing. And once they're gone, we can't get them back. So that's one of the reasons that I chose to run for office, and specifically was really excited to run with Kyle, because as he just mentioned his voting record, he has consistently voted to maintain those qualities that are so important to Newtown's charm. I don't want to answer the question for him, but
No.
I feel as though open spaces are one of our biggest passions, next to sound fiscal management, making sure we're helping small businesses.
I want to ask you a question, Andrea, if you don't mind. You're a female. You've been successful, very successful in business. You make great money. I've known you a lot of years. I've seen you grow. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow, right?
Thank you.
Most people don't know you're a Hispanic female also, that you're a
Correct.
minority.
Yes.
Right? I'm not allowed to say that, but you're a Hispanic female, right?
Yes.
Do you think Newtown needs more diversity and more strong women like you?
So I think that when we're talking about diversity and we're talking about ethnicity, that's one area of diversity. I'm excited that I could potentially be, the first Hispanic woman at this board level. That's an exciting concept. Well, there's no women at the board level currently.
Okay, well, what's that tell you?
Right, so so what I was talking about diversity, I think that the fact that we're going to have a woman at the board level this time is great diversity. And also, Kyle and I are hoping to take this board 3-2 in terms of political diversity, because I think that's, again, where the collaboration comes in, right? A good board is assembled of not people with the same like mind. You play to each other's strengths, and you try to bridge gaps over each other's weaknesses. And that's not what we're seeing at the board level right now.
It's a dictatorship.
It just seems to not be operating in a cohesive way, which is going to effectuate the best result for Newtonians. I don't want to say a dictatorship, but I can only tell you as a resident and gravitated to this level, I got quickly disenchanted, and I think you would too, the way that it's being managed. It's not creating a collaborative conversation, not with the board of supervisors themselves as professionals, or more importantly with them and the residents, right? This is an elected position. You need to want to engage with the electorate in a collaborative way, and I don't necessarily see them doing that.
Kyle, do you feel the same, that they don't really collaborate and that you guys are on a team? Do you kind of feel on an island by yourself?
I definitely, for the majority of the time, feel like I'm on an island. I'm not needed as a vote for most anything, so I'll find out things later than probably the rest of them do.
Don't even give you a courtesy vote?
Well, yeah, they do. They have to bring it up. They have to bring it up at the board. But I'll probably get notification of it with the agenda when the rest of the public gets it. Not on everything. I mean, there's a lot of emails going around internally from the manager and whatnot. But yeah, I think we could do better. Absolutely.
Let's talk about this. You're going to run, both of you. Do you feel like you have a shot running the Republican ticket right now? Because right now, it feels like if you say to people you're a Republican, and I got no dog in the fight because I'm neither one, right? I'm just down the middle here, right? People feel like you're a Republican, that you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist, you're anti-women, you're anti, if you support the American flag today, you're now racist. Like, it's gotten very, you just almost like, whoa. Do you feel like you even have a shot at being a Republican and winning in Newtown, which has become a very liberal area?
I definitely think we have a shot. I've never felt better about the campaign. I feel better about this one than my first one, and I feel better about this one than maybe the last several.
You're the last Republican to win.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah. I probably feel good too, but the people that came after you ain't feeling the same as you.
No. And for the record, by the way, my first time I ran, I lost in 2013. No, I know what that feels like, and definitely empathize. And I know a lot of good people didn't get elected to Newtown Township Board of Supervisors because they're Republicans. Absolutely.
Do you feel like there's a stigma behind the Republicans, right? Do you feel like it's almost like
there's a bigotry against Republicans?
Right,
absolutely.
yeah, surely.
You're going to paint me with a brush because I have an R next to my name, because when I was 18 and I registered to vote, I identified more with the Republican Party. Like, the crux of it is I'm fiscally conservative, and I want the government out of my face, leave me alone, and don't take all my money. That's why I'm a Republican. That's it. And they're going to paint me with brushes for every other topic that comes along, and it's stereotyping. It's all the things they told us at Council Rock in high school not to do. Don't stereotype. That was a big thing back when I was in, and that's what I feel like is going on. Too many people don't spend the time to get to know who's running at local levels. They don't even know it's an election. Some of the people were knocking doors on this year. Not presidential, they don't care.
Well, I think the turnout is almost like, what, 20% to what, if it's an election year? Isn't it like something like that?
Yeah, it's abysmal. Yeah, generally it's abysmal. And they don't know what the board does. They don't know who I am. They'll come to vote, and, oh, he's a Republican, I'm not going to vote for him. We know it goes both directions. There's the Democrat, Republican. There are haters on both sides that just go to the party, don't do the math, figure out who's who, and vote for the person. And that's why we door knock. We want people to say, hey, Andrea and Kyle, they're good people. They have the best interest of Newtown Township in mind. This isn't for the glory and the money, because there's none of it. It's just to try and keep the town that we grew up in, that we love, as nice as we can keep it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think us running as Republicans are going to help us or hurt us, candidly, right now, because I think that we're running on our messaging and on our strengths. Right. We're the best ticket for Newtown.
Right.
Regardless of party affiliation, our resumes marry better to this job. We're a team. Kyle and I have, since announcing our candidacy, become friends. We're a cohesive team. So I think, again, that's missing from the board level. The four majority that's sitting there now, they don't gel. They don't work real great together. And Kyle and I do. So forget party affiliation. While I know I have to be mindful of it, the fact of the matter is we're just the better fit for these seats this cycle.
You know, you guys are out there door knocking. Are you guys using any other platforms, social media, digital, anything to get your message out there?
Absolutely.
I mean, you got 20,000 people. You can't knock 20,000 doors.
No, you can't. And even when you do knock them, they're not necessarily home or come to the door. We all know more and more everyone spends more time on their cell phones, tablets, PCs, as you know I do as well. You can't neglect that platform. We have a strong social media campaign strategy in mind for our campaign. And we further want to use it to communicate with the electorate. As we said, we're trying to be transparent and communicate with everybody in Newtown Township. When I was on the Township Technology Committee, we recommended to the board at the time, before I was on it, they should create a Facebook page. You know, it was not very, it was not new. It was, hey, you guys don't have, you could really communicate well. And they never did. They still haven't, even now that I'm on the board. The police department does, and a lot of stuff goes out through the police department Facebook page. But seeing that weakness 8 years ago, still there, I think we can do better to use it, day-to-day governing. But also in our campaign, we're using it as well. So.
Right. So good campaigns, you have to get your message out, right?
Right.
So we know social. We know it's important.
Yeah.
So you're posting all the time.
Right. Oh, thank you. I mean, we know there's just no way around it. It's like legs on a stool, right? So the traditional things that we're doing, door knocking, mailers, very important. But that other leg that's just as important now is social platforms and having an effective social strategy. So, we're trying to be super mindful of that. And as we talked about it, that's when Kyle brought up how to use it more effectively moving forward. Right, you talk about it so much now with the campaign, but we're already trying to think about what can we do when we have these seats. We're already thinking about what's next.
Here's a question for you, right? The country's divided in a lot of ways, right? But yet, I don't agree with that. Like, I have a different mindset. I just came back from Kentucky. I was speaking. We were there with thousands of people we never met before. Black, white, Indian, Chinese. It didn't matter. Tall, small, heavy set, in shape. I didn't see one argument. Everybody was hanging out. Nobody talked about political association. We were talking about digital marketing, service-based business, how to grow your business. Everyone was going out every night. Went to Churchill Downs. Not one thing. But yet, when you go out and you go into the community of a Newtown or anywhere else, it seems as soon as politics is brought up, it's like, rah. Do you feel like it's really the media doing this and people are just buying in?
Absolutely.
Or do you think, because I know I could care less.
It's the media and even campaigns. Look at the ads on TV now. Governor of New Jersey race. They throw junk out on TV. I mean, the presidential campaign last year. How many presidential campaign ads did you see? And now none of them are positive. They're all like, why this guy is so horrible and this guy is so horrible. You get along in Kentucky because you went with like-minded people and things you agree on, things that you have in common. Focus on those things, and other things you don't have in common, you don't agree on. I think you build better rapport and everyone gets along better. I don't want to focus on the negative. Don't paint me with that brush to make me negative so your voters don't vote for me. I think that's and that's what's divided us.
So how do you pull Newtown together there? Because I've been out in Newtown, I've been out in Bucks County. People, if you're sitting at the Parrot and this conversation comes up, you're going to have half of the people start screaming vaccine, other half saying no vaccine, other half saying orange man bad, other person calling him Sleepy Joe, right? I mean, just...
Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe politics starts on a local level. How do you start some of that, like, healing on that? Just from a social standpoint. Like, I know it's not the board supervisor's job to do that, but if you're going to be a leader in a a community, you also got to help pull people together.
No,
Right.
you're right. You're 100% right. And
Yeah.
I've had some of those conversations at the door with residents. You know, if it was a mixed household and I had an opportunity to engage with a Democrat and they were of a mind that, you know, they're still really angry about some things. And the first thing I lead with is, I share your passion about your vote. I'm running for office. I'm also passionate about my vote. Let's focus on the things that we can do now. We're both passionate, right, about that we have this privilege to vote. Let's talk about Newtown. Let's stay focused on Newtown. Let's take that positive energy and put it to the things that you actually can change with this vote this cycle, right? Like these local votes, these local races, these 20,000 residents of Newtown, they actually have a voice that is more impactful at the local level than it will ever be at the national level.
Talk about that, because most people don't understand that, and I know that for a fact, that your local politics is more important than that. Except for, I think, the last 2-3 years with COVID has been an outlier to that, right?
Yeah, it was
government has stepped in and did
exception.
things that exception. But overall, unless we keep seeing what we're seeing, right? But overall, local does impact your vote a lot more. Can you talk about why, like taxes, schooling, those things? Can you talk about that?
Everything we do at the township level impacts only the geographic region of where you're living. This is where you live. How's your road? How's your,
My roads are fine.
That's what I'm saying. Not top of your list.
that wouldn't even make my top 30 list.
Is there crime rampant in your town? How's the police force going? How about fires? They get put out okay? How about ambulance? Are people showing up to help you when you're in need? And that's the key, and that's where you live. Do you want it? Do you want something built atrocious next to your house, or even on the other side of town, if it's going to impact your daily life? Everything going on in Newtown should, to some level, impact everyone that lives there's daily life. And to lose sight of all those things, and then most of the things I just mentioned were public safety, right? You can be ticked all you want about Washington, D.C., but guess what? The crime's happening in your town, or it's not happening in your town.
Is crime up or down Newtown?
I'd say it's about the same. I don't think it's very high at all. I think it's good. I think our police department does a great job. Yeah.
I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's a question on the final roar. Tell us why you two are the best candidate for this job. Tell us why you're the best candidate for Newtown supervisors versus your opponents.
I'm going to say this. Andrea mentioned it earlier. We're a team. I've never had such good teamwork with another board member or on a campaign as I have with Andrea. We hit it off when I met her. Things have been going great. We're in the foxhole together. We play off each other's strengths, and I think we carry that awesome teamwork into that board, and then try and forge those relationships continually with the other members. I think it makes a difference.
I think it makes a huge difference. Yeah. And I think the reason Kyle's mentioning that is because we have become friends and we share so much of the similar philosophy and approach. And if we're able to capture these seats and take that energy to the board level, even if we get one guy or two guys to start to want to collaborate with us, that is such a huge improvement from where it is now. Compared to lack of collaboration. If we don't begin to really have great conversations, we're not going to grow. And that's what Kyle and I are hoping to do. And that started with our candidacy. So I have to agree with Kyle. I think the biggest thing that we're doing differently, listen, our resumes are great, right? I mean, look at my resume, look at his. We're grown up in Newtown our whole lives. So we get it. We get what Newtonians think and breathe and how
And you're both successful professionally.
Right. But the thing that really I think is making us unique is in the trenches. That's the great way to say it, right? We've rolled up our sleeves. We're going through the budget together. What do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Right.
So I'm hopeful that when we do win this, that we can effectuate that change at the board level.
Now I'm going to ask you this final question, because I know you guys are busy. Do you guys have aspirations after this board to do something else in politics, or is this kind of it?
No, absolutely not. No, I wouldn't want to. all the negative stuff we talk about, politics, it starts the higher you go up. I don't want anything to do with it. I only care about Newtown. I'm only in it for Newtown. I'm doing it because I care, not because I have aspirations.
Because it's a volunteer job, also. I mean, you get
Yeah.
paid, but I mean,
Yeah,
no
it's-
offense, you lose more money than you
Yeah.
make. I'm just,
100%.
Yeah,
I know
and-
both what you do for a living. One
Yeah.
deal pays you 10 times. I mean, it's just,
yeah, and that's the thing. Any of those jobs higher up the political food chain, they don't pay enough that I'm going to quit my job.
Right.
So
And Lance, you know me pretty well. I don't do anything I don't love, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really passionate about Newtown. I'm excited for this campaign and to capture these seats, and I'm incredibly focused on this race. So I haven't deviated from that at all. I'm focused on winning.
well, good luck to you both in the race. Choose for yourself. But, I can tell you, I just met Kyle. Seems like a really nice guy, open, candid. Dre, I know you since high school. Newtown would be lucky to have someone like you lead the way for them.
Thank
so,
you.
wish you guys the best.
thank you. Appreciate it.